I'm going down. The seas have shifted, the tides begun to break, and all the things you want.
So I'm gonna tell a quick story. We came up this hill back here, and as we come up on what looks to be an old logging road, or maybe it's a road to get down to that old pump house, Mark pulls out his phone and opens it up and looks at the time, and the time says 3:40 p.m. and us knowing it's morning, I still pulled out my phone and checked my phone to make sure that we hadn't went into a portal and lost time or something crazy. So it's not 3:40, it's 9:40.
Right on.
Thank the Lord. It's a balancing act. Yeah. See that? What it was. So I don't really do this. This isn't kind of my thing, but I'm going to talk a little bit. I more so enjoy putting these videos together and just trying to keep it simple and show what little evidence there is that we found. And we don't get too much into, you know, our theories and how we do things. And I've discussed how we do things in a few videos and a few podcasts that I've done. You know, we don't come out here and try to hide and try to be stealthy. We want to show ourselves as being non-threatening, and you know, we're not out here trying to be evasive and whatnot. It doesn't make sense to me. Just me personally, you know, we enjoy the hike and just getting out together and hanging out, and you know, the physical aspect of hiking out here in Ozark Mountains. As you can see, I'm going downhill right now, but we had to go uphill to be able to go downhill, so it's kind of a 50-50, you know. That's the only positive side to walking up this mountainous area down here in the Ozark hills and mountains, is that, you know, when you get to the top, you get to go downhill for a little while, but inevitably you're going to go back uphill. It's just how it is. So, and the terrain is, you know, this area we're in today there's a lot of rock, so you can just take off sliding down a hill at times, and so you have to be fairly careful and keep track of your footing, which hurts in the research because, like I said, hurts in the research at times because right now I'm looking down a lot, watching my footing, and I should be focusing on my surroundings. So it's kind of a catch-22. You know, of course, we do have the theory that they eat wood, rotted wood. We are hoping that this is true, and if it is true, it gives us an opportunity to, you know, possibly find DNA. So what I'm saying is that one of the things that we're keeping an eye out for around these rotted logs that we keep an eye out on is chewed up rotted wood, or chewed up wood that has been spit out or hacked up, what have you. Sorry. So if we can find that, if we could stumble across that, that would be good DNA evidence, you would think. So that's kind of where we're going as far as scientific evidence. And of course we don't know 100% that these things eat rotted wood and eat trees, but the evidence is leading us to think it's a possibility, and that's all we can do is follow the evidence that we get. And this area out here is just so serene. Days like today, it's probably 50 degrees out. It's cloudy, but there's very little wind. Beautiful hiking weather. You can see right down here, we're back around those two ponds that we'd shown earlier. So one of the questions that I get a lot is, why do we do this? Well, of course it's the thrill of the chase, but in my case, I've had several sightings, and I didn't ask for those sightings to happen. At first I looked at it as a bad thing because for a while I got obsessed with it, and I'm a very curious person by nature, and I was just overwhelmed with the thought of these things running around out in the woods, and people don't believe it. And not only am I a believer, I'm a knower, because I've had several sightings. When this first all happened to me, I wasn't looking. I was hiking and just out enjoying nature. And so now it's not about proving it to the world necessarily. It's about getting back out and staying out and proving it to myself, and proving it to the guys that do this with me. It's more than anything, it's my curiosity that drives me more than anything, I would say. It's my thirst for knowledge. I really want to know everything that I can learn about these things, but first, the steady interaction year after year after year after year has to occur, and I don't think that's going to happen going out just here and there, just going out on weekends. It's going to be a situation where we have to go out, set up camp, and stay out for months at a time. Like just out here in the 400, me and Mark had a sighting. We've found tracks. We have a handprint that we've casted from out here. We have lots of evidence of them hanging out and eating on particular rotted trees. Those are gunshots, by the way, not wood knocks. So at this point, we want to get that evidence. We want to show people that they're out here, and it's going to be a long-term process. Nobody's going to go out and do that by accident. I just don't think it's going to happen that way. It's going to take a Jane Goodall approach, and that's something that we're looking at doing. And I can't say a whole lot right now, but we're trying to make that happen. We're gonna make it happen. It is hunting season. Second day of hunting season here in Missouri, but we're on private property. So as far as we know, we're okay. We don't have to really worry about that. Obviously you heard some gunshots, and those gunshots were quite a ways away, but noises ring through these hollers. A lot of times things will sound closer than they are. I was talking about how some of this stuff is really steep. Alright, so here's the dammed up end here of the lower pond. And this will run into Ants Creek eventually. Yeah. So we're back at the point where we said we were going to come back. That's where we originally came through. We came down, went up and down and around through that way. We've come back up and over from the ponds, come down here, and now we're back here. So this is the draw that we were interested in checking out. Mark's filming me, filming him.
Okay. Look at top we have it, look.
Fern Gully.
This is as this. Look that way. Look at the jungle gym.
Look at the ferns. So hillside's ferns. This is ferns up to here. This would be a good spot for ginseng.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't even looked, but I'd be willing to bet there's ginseng out here.
There's that band with the X.
Yeah. So you can see here, there's this down tree. It's happening down there too, but as you see, there's nothing below it. All that stuff that was in there should be down here. And what is gone from there is not down here. One of those interesting spots, you know. One of those interesting spots. Are they eating this stuff? We'll find out soon enough. Another trail marker. So we hiked out of where we were, and we came around down on the other side of the property, and this is an old homestead slash logging road down into, kind of gets us down into almost the center of the property. This tree here we actually had to cut out a while back, and we decided to leave this cool little archway, you know, because we're like kids and we like driving through it. So we are down in the 400 in the central area. And we're retrieving cameras and looking to see what there is to see. So here's the first one. There it is. Won't know if we have anything until we get back and check the SD card. Make sure I get all this good. I believe, if I remember correctly, didn't he leave this X here? So there's another camera around here. One of these little crevices. There it is right there. So these little cameras have night vision on them. They have motion sensors on them. They have sound. You can see there's the SD card. Now these aren't waterproof, but these were like 10 bucks or 12 bucks online. So we thought we would try them out. See if we got anything. We're pretty positive something's been coming up in here. We found tracks, which we're not seeing a lot of sign of thus far. That's been chewed on a little bit now. That stick's still there. This at one point had bark up on it. You can see there's our salt block. I'll have to look, and it's been a few weeks since I've been out here, and Mark and Matt were out here last, so I don't know if that has been moved or not, but it's still there. Looks like something has been working on it, which that could be anything. Of course, I will point out that, you know, we think that this is a possible bedding site, and you know, we've found bark here. Looks like this is all messed up and different, which is not, that won't be too big of a surprise if something's been up in there licking on that block. But right here is where we had originally, a month and a half, 2 months back, gotten the handprint. Was right here. You can see there's some hydrocal left over from that, but that handprint was like right here, something like that. So the digital recorder is right here. To lift up this rock. There's the digital recorder. So I have to go over this and see if we got anything good. This was set up to be sound activated. So hopefully we get something good off of this. Something just came up right here. Mark is up there, but he came from that away. Came up and over through here. So that's interesting. So we have retrieved the mini cams that Matt and Mark set out. Now we are headed back up out of the central area, and on the way out we are going to stop and go down into one more spot where Matt and Mark were out last time and found the deer carcass with the broken neck. We're gonna go down in there, may possibly leave one of the mini cams down there. So we are going down into where Matt and Mark recently found the deer carcass, and Mark set me up to get me.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we're going back down in here for two reasons. There's an area that I want to see that they went through that was just arch after arch after arch after arch. And they got the grunts down here also. And This whole area down here is just completely full of clutter. Oh, oh, oh. So we have this arch here, and that stuff there is holding it down. That tree looks like it may have came from down there. If it did, there's no way that it pulled this tree down, which would have been standing straight up. Here, behind me, we have this arch, which comes in, and you have a cross piece here and a cross piece here that is shoved into these three, which is holding this arch down. That is a very, very, very tight arch. I just cannot see that happening on its own. Is it possible? Yes. Interesting. So here's the deer carcass that Matt and Mark found in the last video, and just give you a little shot of where this is at. So while they were down in here, weekend before last, observing the broken neck of this carcass, they got 3 grunts. Actually, there was 4. While they were down here looking at those arches, they had a grunt between there and here, and then there were 3 grunts while they were right here that came from up that direction, they think. They both heard the third one, and they both reacted and turned and looked that direction, so I have to assume that all 3 of the grunts came from up there. So we came back to visit the spot and check it out. Some of this back here was logged last year, and you see this is the remnants of it, but we come down to check it out just because it's good cover. This whole hillside here is just full of down trees and tops that they didn't take. So this would make great cover. Of course, this is going to be thinning out soon with winter coming on, so we wanted to get down here and check it out before that happened. You can see this has been just demolished, and the landowner last year, when he allowed them to come out and actually log out here, that's when the activity started to heighten, and he started getting rocks thrown at his house, hitting the side of his house at night. He was getting screams and yells just out into the woods right near his house. He actually had a sighting recently. Was in one of his barns, I believe, with a scope, night vision scope, looking through the woods at night, and watched one coming up towards the barn, and of course it spooked him, so he hightailed out. And so it seems like when the logging started out here is when they started getting a little more rambunctious and started raising Cain a little bit, and the landowner pretty well knew they were here, but once the logging started, they were letting him know for sure that they were most likely not happy with the situation, and he has structures right outside of his yard into the woods now that have been set up night to night. They had a scream just outside of his yard, just into the woods, and there was actually 2 other people out in the front yard with him, and it came from behind the house. So the activity kind of got supercharged during that time, and it's died off somewhat since we've been out and been staying pretty active out here. So just slowly trying to get that evidence. It's a process. We do have bear out here, and we have big cats. We haven't seen any sign of hogs out here, but we do get hogs up in this area at times. We just hope and pray to never run into those things. We say that as we're chasing a large, hairy, bipedal hominid. Oh. See where Mark is. Woo! Found him.
I'm going